Have you ever just stared at one of those massive, seemingly endless workplace satisfaction surveys and thought, come on, there literally has to be a better way to do this? Well, welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in, because today we're looking at a pretty groundbreaking 2026 study by Tan and colleagues that finally solves the absolute nightmare of workplace surveys. They've actually figured out a way to measure employee well-being that is fast, scientifically rigorous, and incredibly effective.
Here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll cover 1. The well-being measurement problem. 2. Meet the 9-question solution. 3. 3 dimensions of well-being. 4. The global science behind it. And 5. Real-world workplace applications.
All right, starting with section 1, the well-being measurement problem.
So, organizations often rely on a question just like this one. Are you happy at work? But honestly, this is a complete trap. The question is just way too simple. I mean, happiness is a fleeting emotion, right? You might be happy because someone brought donuts to the break room today, but that single question completely misses the big picture of the human experience. It doesn't account for your life outside of work, your psychological resilience, or the actual meaning you get out of your daily tasks.
Because of this, HR teams and researchers usually fall into one of two extremes. On one side, you have that vague, overly simplistic single question that gives you absolutely zero actionable data. And on the flip side, you have its absolute opposite, the exhausting 100-question employee survey. We all know this one. It causes massive survey fatigue. People just start clicking strongly agree down the line just to get it over with, and as a result, it severely lowers the quality of the data. Neither of these approaches actually works if you want a true reliable pulse on your workforce.
That brings us to section 2, meet the 9-question solution.
The solution really comes down to this single powerful number, 9. The researchers developed what they call the 9-item brief employee well-being scale, or BEWBS for short. They basically took a popular but really lengthy 18-item scale and rigorously tested it to find the 9 most effective questions. And it turns out this is the absolute sweet spot. It's incredibly fast and efficient to complete, meaning you avoid that dreaded survey fatigue and participant withdrawal, all while still capturing really high-quality data. As the researchers explicitly pointed out in their 2026 paper, this brief scale provides an efficient and valid tool for advancing our understanding of employee well-being. So, the big takeaway here? Measuring how your employees are doing absolutely does not require a long, tiring questionnaire.
Let's look closer in section 3, 3 dimensions of well-being.
Now, you might be wondering, how in the world do 9 questions capture the entire human experience at work? Well, this tool views a person's overall well-being as a 3-legged stool. Every single part has to be stable to support the whole thing. The first dimension is life well-being, because, you can't just separate the human from the worker. It asks things like, I feel satisfied with my life. The second is work well-being, exploring if you find real enjoyment in your actual tasks. And the third is psychological well-being, which looks at how you function day to day with statements like, I handle daily affairs well.
Let's actually zoom in on that last one, psychological well-being, because it's pretty fascinating. This isn't just about whether you like your job. It's about your functional capacity. It asks if you can handle daily affairs, if you're good at adapting to flexible timetables, and if people think you're willing to share your time with others. Let's put that into a relatable workplace scenario. You might love your salary, sure. But if you are so burned out that you can't adapt to a sudden schedule change, or you are completely unwilling to share 10 minutes of your time to help a coworker, your psychological well-being is actually compromised. This scale captures that exact nuance.
Which leads us to section 4, the global science behind it.
What's really cool is that the researchers didn't just test this in one small, isolated office building. They ran 6 robust studies across 4 major workforces: Malaysia, India, China, and Indonesia. And their deliberate choice of geography here is absolutely vital. Historically, well-being research has been heavily focused on what we call weird populations: Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. But these researchers specifically focused on the global south to ensure the tool isn't just Western-centric. They are capturing data from some of the largest labor forces on the planet to see if these questions actually hold up cross-culturally.
To pull that off, they had to prove something called measurement invariance. Okay, I know measurement invariance sounds like super heavy academic jargon, but if we translate it into everyday language, it simply means, do the questions work similarly across different countries? Think about it. If a worker in India and a worker in Indonesia answer the exact same question, are they actually interpreting the underlying concept in the same way? The researchers proved that yes, across these diverse nations, the scale held its structural integrity perfectly.
They also established rigorous reliability and validity. Again, translating the jargon for us, Does the scale measure well-being consistently every single time you use it, and does it actually measure what it claims to measure, instead of accidentally measuring something entirely different, like personality traits? Whether the survey was given in English, Mandarin, or Indonesian, the 9-item scale successfully maintained its high accuracy and that core 3-part structure we talked about earlier.
But, and this is a really crucial point, they also found that cultural context still heavily matters when you're interpreting the results. For example, the statement about willingness to share time with others resonated particularly strongly as an indicator of psychological well-being in China. Why is that? It's because of a cultural concept called renqing, which emphasizes relational harmony, reciprocity, and the moral value of selflessness. In that specific cultural context, dedicating time to help your colleagues is a profound expression of social bonds and inner well-being. This just goes to show why we can't blindly apply a one-size-fits-all assumption to global data. The scale works universally, for sure, but the cultural flavor behind the scores is unique.
All right, let's wrap things up with Section 5, Real-World Workplace Applications.
If you're in HR, organizational leadership, or policymaking, this is basically your new playbook. Step 1, you can check group well-being efficiently without causing that awful survey fatigue. Step 2, because it measures those 3 specific dimensions, you can easily identify exact areas needing attention. Maybe work well-being is sky-high, but life well-being is crashing. Step 3, because it's literally only 9 questions, you can actually repeat these surveys over time without your staff revolting, which lets you track trends longitudinally. And Step 4, you can definitively evaluate whether your new workplace initiatives, say a 4-day work week or flexible hours, are actually moving the needle on your team's well-being.
Now, I do want to emphasize a really firm warning based on how this tool is designed. You absolutely must focus on group trends and evaluating broad initiatives. Do not, under any circumstances, use these scores to judge or penalize individual employees. This is a cultural barometer for the organization, okay? It is not a clinical diagnostic tool to decide who gets a promotion or who gets let go. Using it to judge individuals fundamentally breaks the trust you need to get honest answers in the first place.
So looking at this monumental 2026 publication, Tand and their team have achieved something incredibly practical. They've proven beyond a doubt that we just don't need exhausting 100-question surveys to understand our workforce anymore. By focusing on life, work, and psychological dimensions, this explainer demonstrates how we can capture a holistic, highly reliable picture of employee health with just 9 simple, scientifically validated questions.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. Think about your own organization right now. If your workplace only had 9 questions to ask about your well-being, what do you think they would uncover? Are you currently measuring the things that actually matter to human flourishing, or are you just asking people if they're happy? It might be time for a measurement upgrade. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.